Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Well, wouldn't you know it? My graphics started okay and then they failed again. Hello, I'm Dave McClelland. Welcome to Mockdown. I have 3 guests, count them, 3 on their way to see you. I'm going to keep trying to fiddle with my graphics machine, get it to work here. Just give me a second while I just flick onto another screen. Oh, come on. I'm going to tell you about my guests in just a moment. Something went wrong, it says on the other screen. Let me tell you about my guest. Kurt Brookes is our first person up. Kurt is our first... Hello, he's talking to somebody. I first met Kurt when he was a young filmmaker, and now he is head of development at MIM Productions and the producer of the upcoming BBC4 radio comedy series, The Likely Dads. And he is also the creator and co-everything of the web series Pigeon Protects. And I was Barry Pigeon, so I know all about that. How are you, Kurt?
I'm very well, David. And yourself?
I am great. Just talk for a second while I try and get the other screen working, and then we'll have some graphics back with us in just a moment.
I'm not sure how much talking I can do, because your moustache is so magnificent, and it's
thank you very much.
Mine's just through sheer laziness, while yours looks very grafted and worked on.
I planned all of this so that we could bring in the picture of you, which should be popping up any moment now. Come on, where's this picture of Kurt? Oh, none of it's working. Oh, damn it. Oh, come on. Oh, there it was. It was there. There we are. Look at that. Kurt's Dick. There must be a story behind that picture.
Yeah, well, I think it was the last time I went to a zoo. I can't remember which one it was. I'm sure if you could zoom in, you might be able to see. But I spend quite a lot of my time telling people that my name's not Kirk. So I just thought that was, and obviously it says Dick. So I thought that was
exactly.
Also the only picture I could find of myself, and that's from I think September last year.
I found a picture on your Facebook of you with a drooling child laid across you, and I thought maybe we won't have that.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% on that. I was going to send you that one, but I wasn't 100% just in case,
Yeah.
She doesn't like that kind of thing in later life, and then comes after us. All that.
Yeah. And the other screen's gone. It's not working. Forget that. Let's find out who the next guest is. We have Marie Friend. There she is. She's a born and bred scouser who's now dead posh, and she's living in Chester. Oh, hey, look at that. She's gone up in the world. She says she's trained with many acting practitioners across Manchester over the last 6 years. She's a broadcast journalist. She's experienced in voiceover and TV presenting. And she was last seen in Hope Mill Theatre, appearing in Welcome to Shangri-La, which I was in as well. Marie, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Dave. And you?
I am just brilliant. All the better for seeing you. I'm still with my other hand trying to get the other screen working because I have these great pictures that I want to share. But anyway, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming along this evening. We have another one of our castmates with us, don't we? Because our third guest is Robyn Moore. There she is. London-born, a British actress of Belgian and Polish descent. That's a bit European, that.
Very European, yeah.
Dodgy, very dodgy. She says she's got over 30 years of experience in theatre, film and television, including Family Affairs and playing Shirley Benson in EastEnders. And she's also had over 20 years of experience teaching actors and professionals in acting and performance techniques. How lovely to see you. Are you keeping well, Robyn?
I am, thanks, darling. And there's something rather wonderful about having an excuse just to take it easy, isn't it? And
yeah.
do a bit of breathing.
take an excuse to dress up, get out of a t-shirt for tonight. Although, sorry,
Oh,
Kurt.
right, yes.
No, sorry, I'm very underdressed.
The thing about these meetings online is people often profess to having pajama bottoms on the bottom half, don't they?
Yes,
Yeah, I have.
No.
What I'm doing.
Oh, look, my other screen is coming in now. I'm going to try and let me try some of these graphics. Here we go. Let's try this one. I mentioned Barry Pigeon earlier. Hopefully he's going to pop up on that screen right now. Come on. It's not. Oh, yeah. There he is. Look.
I love
himself.
So we originally did the series Barry Pigeon Protects how many years ago? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was. We filmed it in 2015, and then it went out at the beginning of 2016. So yeah, before 4 years since it's been on. Yeah.
Yeah. And then during lockdown, we had a request to see if we could put together another episode, and so we did the viral episode. And I can't believe it. I look at that photograph. That was filmed on my landing at home in front of a green screen, and it looks like I'm in an office somewhere. It boggles the mind that works.
We really have to take our hats off to Andy there, who's also co-everything on Barry Pigeon Protects, because he's keyed that, he's matched everything. I think we had 2 frames or something like that where your arm went behind the kettle.
I know, and
he went.
He made it work.
Oh.
Now this is our Welcome to Shangri-La cast. That was in the rehearsal hall, and guys, we were never so cold as we were during that rehearsal.
Oh my God, we were rehearsing at the end of January. We started rehearsing for that in this open warehouse with not a spot of heating. Doors open everywhere. We were, honest to God, how cold was it?
It was cold. Even the theatre was cold, let's be honest.
Yeah. Look at all the layers that we're wearing.
Yeah, I mean, we looked like Michelins.
Yeah. It was absolutely.
John looks pretty cash, doesn't he? With his open neck and.
I know. We should mention our other troopers there. We've got Dominic Holmes on the left-hand side. Then you, of course, Robyn, May Kelly. There's you in the middle there, Marie. We have Adrian Palmer, then myself and Joel Parry, our fearless director there as well. So, here we go. It's gone on to the next one. Come on. It's skipping ahead. It's not working as smoothly as it should, but we're moving on. Come on. Bring it over. Flip it over. Come on.
It was a great job, wasn't it? It was a fantastic bunch of people to work with.
It was, and really, when it comes down to it, it was one of the later theatre productions to actually go ahead, because it was shortly after that everything shut down, wasn't it? You know, we'd only been closed 2-3 weeks, and that was it. So I'll see if I can move on to another one. That was that closing night or opening night, that Marie?
I don't know.
You look happy.
It was good though. We were in a bar.
Yeah.
Is
that your birthday, maybe?
Oh, it could be.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Last night, maybe.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah. I've got another one coming up. Come on. Oh, I'm giving up on that. It's not working. Anyway, there we go. I had some lovely pictures to show you, but they're all gone. But how are you all keeping? How is lockdown being for you? Have you been locked down? Kurt, you're at home most of the time. You work from home, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked from home now for the past 3 years, I think it is. And towards the beginning of that, when I first started, you do find that you go a little bit stir crazy because you're looking at the same 4 walls. I used to work in an office, so there was loads of people milling around all the time. And the way that you work changes completely because you're on your own. No one's there to watch you do anything.
Yeah.
But you still feel, because it's a job that I love doing, you still get the work done. And I think this is one of the big things that people are finding at the minute who are working from home, is that now everyone's just kind of being trusted to get on with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing about trust, isn't it? Because most jobs now, you know, it used to be if you felt sick, you wouldn't go in, but everybody's petrified about taking time off sick now because it goes against it. Well, you could carry on doing it at home if need be, you know, and if we're finally trusted to do work at home and carry on like that, then perhaps that will be something that will actually come to, you know, be a normality in life.
I think it will be a normality, to be honest. I think this is
Oh,
she's gone.
Oh, sorry. I cut you off then. I meant to make you big.
Someone didn't like what Marie was saying.
Yeah.
Get her off.
You won't be the first, You're not the first.
What they called Regal, who rent out all the office space. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think it's just a massive shift, and it will be a massive shift. And I think it's been tiptoeing into these times for a while now. More and more people have been working from home, but this is definitely going to turn the tide. I think a lot of organisations and a lot of people will realise actually we can do this from home. There's no need to go into the office to do this. And as you say, I mean, I've worked from home for a long time as well, and it was very difficult at first because you're very distracted, aren't you? It's like, oh, I'll just put that washing on, and oh, the cat, and oh, you know, this. And then you realise that actually, you know, it stops with you. You've got to get the work done. So you just got to knuckle down and do it. But there is also that thing where you do miss the interaction of the office, or you do miss interacting with people and having people to bounce ideas off. But again, you know, with all this Zoom and all these software, all the software that's out there now, we can do that anyway now, can't we? I mean, we're doing it now.
Well, I'm hoping it will be a big change. I really do, because we can't actually afford to keep travelling in the way we travel in. You know, transport's overtaxed, it's overcrowded, it's too polluting. So let's hope that we kind of find a new way forward through this. I think a lot of positive things have come out of it. You know, my daughter's always, I mean, for years she's had to do most of her stuff at home because she has a chronic illness, and a lot of people have that, where they're not physically able to get up and about, you know, so we can do loads from home. I mean, obviously as actors, it's slightly different, you know.
I mean, we can't do much, although we're trying, which is why I started doing this show, because I wanted to get out there and do something. And I'm doing
ideas that have come about because of this situation, though, is just phenomenal. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure, you know, we've all been doing our own bits, but I've been involved in a few things that have come to fruition during lockdown. I mean, it astounds me the creativity that people come up with during this period of time. I'll mention a few of them if that's okay.
Yeah, do.
There's a girl called Chloe McClelland. She works on the props for Emmerdale. She's also a writer. She started up Rapid Reels. And basically what happens is she's teamed up a load of actors, a load of writers. And what you do is you get an email, I think it's 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock on a day with the script. You have to learn it, do your monologue, and it goes on Twitter at 8 o'clock. It's a bit of a frenzy. It's all a bit crazy. It's all a bit, but it keeps us all going because we're all used to doing all this kind of stuff. So it keeps you going. She's been doing that. Do or Die Studios. I don't know if you've heard of them. They've been doing this incentive whereby you pay, I think it was £7.50 for a ticket. They've been doing it before lockdown, I think, as well. A great portion of that goes to charities. And then they're getting great casting directors. The last casting director was Hetty McDonald from Normal People. She viewed all the duologues that we do. Again, you get sent the script. You get somebody on Zoom or somebody just phoning in with your other partner to do the duologue with, and you film yourself. Again, you put it on Twitter, you send it off, and all these casting directors look for it. Another great one. And last but not least, I have to mention a guy called Simon Okora. I don't know whether anyone's heard of him. He's got a website called Get Seen, as in SCENE. And he offers bespoke writing for actors and directors and the film industry. And during lockdown, he's wrote 200 monologues. Can you believe it? 200 monologues, and he's going to publish them over a series of 4 books throughout lockdown. So during lockdown, all these 200 actors have put themselves forward. He's delivered the monologue. We've learnt it. We've recorded it at home. uploaded it to the Lockdown Monologue Facebook site. And we've all been doing this, but 200 monologues he's written during lockdown. Absolutely phenomenal achievement. And as I say, he's already published over 4 books, but what a feat that is.
I know. It's funny when you said, I don't know if you know him. I just had a friend request from him this evening. So
I told him about you. Yeah.
I'll be getting in touch with him. There we go. And there's some other guys up here based in Manchester. Yeah, I've done 2 of their readings. They're reading. They decided to do script readings, and they invited new scripts in, and expected to do just a few. And they're doing 2 or 3 a day now. It's absolutely crazy. It's wonderful that we can get out there and do stuff. Yeah, but it's trying to monetize it, isn't it? Because there's no blinking money in any of it.
Exactly.
Well, we're just tiptoeing into this period now, aren't we? We're just transitioning slowly into a completely new time, a new era. I don't think things will ever go back to the way they were, and we're just exploring them. Everyone talks about this corona coaster, and I'm sure, well, I've definitely been the same. Some days I've just been like, oh my God, what is going on? I feel miserable. I feel so uncreative. I feel like I've produced nothing. I look around me and everyone's doing these amazing, fantastic things. I think, God, all I've done today is stare out the window and have a little cry. Like that.
It's true. It's hard
to be really grateful for the time, and you love it. It's just been like up, down, up, down, up, down. Crazy.
Yeah. You were saying, Robyn, you feel a bit the same way.
Yes, I mean, I have had some real down moments because it does look like some of the world's gone completely mad. Things aren't very healthy politically, are they, in America or here or Russia or Brazil? I mean, there's some real nutters in charge, and some really sad stories out there. So I feel really badly for the people that on the front line who've died that needn't have died, and there are days when it really gets to me. But as you say, there's a lot of positive that's come out of it too. And I do think that that the groundswell is a good thing. I think that people rising up is a good thing. It means that people are alert. We're not just sitting back and taking it. And there's something wonderful about challenging yourself. I mean, I wrote a monologue, and I've put it up on YouTube, but also Michelle Collins has got For the Love of Art. She's asked people to send via Equity monologues that they've written and filmed of themselves to put up online as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of things like that going on, which is great. I've learned to crochet.
Oh,
wow.
I went mad. I mean, I've just gone mad. Aldi were doing a big deal on big rolls of wool.
Yeah.
Oh, they look nice. I didn't know, I can't knit or anything, but I bought 3 rolls and I've just crocheted my way through them.
You'll be able to make one of those throws that they have in the Dingles farm in Emmerdale. You could send that in, and you could be the lockdown throw.
I've heard.
But Kurt, I suppose you made in Manchester and the old sister Distinct Nostalgia are wanting more and more work. Are you doing extra stuff to fill time with that?
Not really, because when things were with the Made in Manchester stuff, we're not doing much more than we would have been. I mean, it's been quite a good year for us. We've got some good.
Oh, sorry, I just cut him off again. I meant to make it big.
Like that.
Yeah.
We got some good commission through last year that was supposed to take place this year. We had a lot of work that's had to be pushed back for obvious-ish reasons. Like we got a project off the ground through the Audio Content Fund for Gadio, which was called The Rainbow Road to Tokyo, which is about all the LGBT Olympians that would be, well, they should have been going now, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
But that's been pushed back towards next year because obviously the Olympics have. So that was a struggle in itself, because sometimes people don't know they've been selected for the national teams yet in their respective sports. So we were having to reach out to people who've either decided that they weren't going or they'd retired And you always felt a bit bad then. She's like, oh, do you want to talk to us for this documentary? And then they'd have to kind of go, I'm not going. And we're like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. Shit, I have to try and find someone else now to fill the gap. But we've had a couple of things. We got a commission from Radio 4 to do a bit of an update for a program we did a couple of years ago about the 1918, people call it the Spanish flu pandemic, because that was a big anniversary a couple of years ago, 100 years ago that it happened. But it doesn't really get talked about much. It's kind of like one of the forgotten eras of history, because it was happening at the tail end of the First World War, and people were too preoccupied with, you know, the horror of that to then go, oh, and then straight after the worst conflict the world's ever seen happened, we had the worst pandemic ever. So because we've been entrenched in that so much, every time, like, me and my colleagues see the news and we just see like unprecedented pandemic all the time, like, hang on, it's happened before, and for some people it's within living memory. Not many, but there's a few people that were there at the time who are still alive now. So we got 3 programs to do for that. The only real difference that we found is that we as a company prefer not to do interviews over Skype, because the budgets that you get for programs aren't fantastic for radio, depending on how many participants that you want and how much research you do. But we just don't believe as a company that there's no reason, especially if someone's in the UK, to not have someone physically there with a microphone doing the interview. Obviously, that got knocked on the head towards the beginning of March, but this amazing 21st century world that we're in, we're now able to do interviews and get really good sound quality from people who've just got iPhones or iPads. And we send them a video tutorial, tell them how to do everything, and then they send the recording over. I mean, it's flying blind for us sometimes, because, you know, I can go out and do an interview and know that the quality will be good. But then if you've got someone in the middle of, in one case for a program that we made recently for Radio Wales, that's like it's smack bang in the middle of the country and has terrible access to the internet, you don't know if that interview's coming and the program could hinge on it. So it's just completely flying blind. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
We've the way that we work hasn't changed too much, really, apart from the way that we get interviews, because that's the beauty of audio.
Very, very lucky then, Kurt. Incredibly lucky.
Yeah, we are, and you know, I'm glad that I've still got work to do. I'm glad that I've still got a job that I'm in. Very fortunate in that regard, definitely.
I think the creative industry and the hospitality industry, the two have been absolutely battered, and I had a leg in both of them. As I say, my brother has a hotel in Chester, the Round Poplars Hotel, family-run business, and obviously it was a bar, restaurant, and hotel. Boom, shut down.
I teach acting, so the two things I do, I can't do. So it's tough. It throws you in on yourself.
I've got a gentleman that I do quite a lot of work with, who's a comedy agent. Can I name drop? Am I all right name dropping?
Please do. We might get the ratings up. Adam Rushton, who is the director of A Rush of Laughter comedy agency. They do loads of gigs up and down the country for lots of venues, and he just overnight stopped. But he's posted. What have I done?
You said it's okay, my name.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Like being at school again.
Yeah, I know. It's because you're sitting at the front and the bad girls are all sitting behind you.
In a big red leather chair.
Yeah, I know. It looked like Mastermind when you sat down in that, I have to say.
Well, his work stopped overnight.
Yeah.
Because people can't sit in crowds anymore. And I think last night he posted some pictures on Facebook of everyone on his street had asked him to put a gig on in his little cul-de-sac. And he had some pretty decent named comedians come to his street. And they've got all the PA system set up and stuff like that. And it looks great. It's a really small crowd, but everyone looked like they were having a great time because no one's seen anything live for months.
Yeah.
I've been watching Ranga Nation. I don't know if you've been watching it. It's the funniest thing on BBC at the moment. I absolutely love it. And last week they showed that in Germany they're doing these raves that people are going to in their cars. So German. So they're sat there in their cars doing all this. It's just hysterically funny. Brilliant.
Kurt, I have to ask you about raves because Manchester, wasn't there some big raves went on last night or something?
Yeah, I wasn't there.
No. You organised them. You organised them.
I'm too old for that kind of stuff, Dave.
Yeah. No, but it was in the news today, wasn't it? It was absolutely bonkers. Are people crazy? Yeah,
there was one that was kind of towards like Ashton, Oldham kind of way, and then another one that was in Carrington that's down towards, like, I think, a little bit towards Salford. But yeah, I think there's about 6,000 people at each of them, which is, you know, absolutely mental. And it's not just a case that these raves have happened illegally. There's like one lad's lost his life, I believe, through a drug overdose. There was a rape. There's 3 people been stabbed. And I think, because I'm out of the loop on these kinds of things because of my age, but we have a festival called Park Life, which quite a lot of the young people in Manchester like going. I sound really old. All the young people in Manchester like going to. That's really grown over the last couple of years, and now it's usually in Heaton Park, and it's roughly this time of year. So I don't know if there is just some kind of, you know, this would have been the weekend for Park Life. Let's just do our own.
Yeah.
It looked absolutely crackers to me.
Yeah, really. I know. But it's been a really strange week with all this, you know, the statues and the protests and everything. And then, you know, what happened in London yesterday with the Football Lads Alliance or whatever it is. I don't think they're real football supporters. None of them are lads. It seemed like all blokes.
Yeah,
are they bonkers? And the guy who was urinating up at Memorial.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Well, he's been. What did I see earlier today? That it was Priti Patel has commended the Metropolitan Police for the speed of the arrest that they made. He handed himself in.
But they arrested him as soon as he walked in. He was arrested.
Yeah, exactly. That was really quick.
He handed himself in, didn't he?
Absolutely crazy. And what about the whole statue thing? I mean, it is quite funny, I think, that Winston Churchill looks like a huge fridge at the moment. And you can just imagine Boris sat in there chilling, you know. But Liverpool has a museum of slavery, doesn't it? You know, I think all their old statues have ended up in there to actually make the point of who these people were and what their involvement was in the slave trade. Yeah. Anybody ever been?
I have, but it was a long, long time ago. The International Slavery Museum down at the Albert Dock in Liverpool. So years and years since I've been. And to be honest, when I did go last, I was probably of an age where I just didn't appreciate or absorb properly really what I was seeing, what I was reading, what it was all about. And since this whole Black Lives Matter movement has sprung before us, literally, I think, you know, I've admitted to myself there's a lot more that I need to understand. There's a lot more that I need to be aware of, and there's a lot more that I need to learn. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat as myself, understanding really what white privilege actually is. And I think when I heard that phrase a few years ago, white privilege, I was like, I'm not white privilege. I'm now I am white privilege. I understand.
I think people heard the word privilege and thought that it meant that they were rich and somehow, because people would say, well, I come from peasant stock, I'm poor. So it's got nothing to do with that. You walk down the street, you're not going to get pulled by police because of the pigment in your skin. That's all it is. That's all
and you know, this whole George Floyd and this Black Lives Matter movement, it's been needed. It's been needed.
It's been very great, though. You know, there's the Rodney King. I mean, it's literally been going on for ages. And if you're alert to it, all these videos have been out there of men beating the shit, policemen, out of black men and women who aren't armed, who haven't done anything wrong. I mean, there are literally hundreds of these videos out there, but only certain people see them. Because most people just get on with their lives, don't they? So suddenly it's kind of flared up and caught around the world, because it's not just in America that this is going on.
No,
you know,
it's the preciseness that this has been delivered to us during this period of lockdown. We're all under health arrest. We're all focused. We're all aware. So for this to happen at this particular time is phenomenal, because it's got the world's attention, literally, and that's been needed. And, no wonder it's exploded, and quite rightly so.
You know what? A lot of people, the Black Lives Matter thing, and then you get this response of all lives matter. And what I was thinking about that while I was paying a visit before we started tonight, and I went, well, yeah, all lives matter, but at the moment, Black lives don't matter in so many cases.
That's the whole point of it.
You know, and that's the change that has to be done. You know, it's
absolutely Black lives. The whole reason for saying Black Lives Matter is because they haven't mattered, because they haven't counted. And you just say all lives matter. Well, that's the same deal. Yes, we know that, but actually, the fact is that only white lives have been mattering in terms of. If you look at the prison populations, if you look at violence against, people of color, it's so disproportionate. My son's mixed race. He used to literally get pulled almost every time he was walking home from school by police for no reason whatsoever. No, just because he's a black kid, you know.
Do you know what? During lockdown, actually, I've got a 16-year-old son and a 21-year-old daughter. 3 of us in our house, and my daughter's boyfriend came to stay with us just before lockdown. He's from London, with the intention of moving up to the northwest to find some work and whatnot. So I said, well, you can stay with us for a little bit until you find your feet and whatnot. Anyway, lockdown happened. He's been trapped with us. He's been trapped with us for 3 months. And we live in a sleepy little village just outside Chester. And in the middle of lockdown, he went for a walk one evening, just to get some fresh air. It must have been 10:30 at night. Everybody was in. As I say, it's a tiny village, and he went for a walk. And this isn't a slur on anybody in my village. I don't mean to call out anybody here. It's just an example that he went for a walk and took a wrong turn, because we've got a little park in our village. Took a wrong turn because he's not familiar with the village, and went down sort of like a little cul-de-sac. And the person obviously saw this unfamiliar face from the village who's got brown skin and had his hood up and rung the police.
Yeah. And people get shot in their front gardens, in America. I mean, it is literally insane how bad it is out there in places. So this had to happen, but the wrong guy's in charge at the moment. He's certainly not helping things.
Well, we've got so many bad politicians everywhere.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, Boris is just. Well, does he just take a break every? He seems to come in for a day a week, if that. Then goes back to the fridge to keep himself fresh.
Incredible arrogance. It's just mind-blowing. We're supposed to be in the middle of a pandemic. He's the first 2 weeks he was on holiday, wasn't he? Before he got ill, wasn't he? Golfing or something, or am I getting that mixed up with Trump? He was definitely
the honeymoon. Then he got ill. Then they had the baby, and the baby's not been mentioned since birth, I don't think.
Which one?
Monkeys about that baby.
Yeah, which one? His latest, Boris's latest.
Oh,
but there's rumours. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say what those rumours are. I read them on Twitter, and it's quite interesting. But anyway, have a look at that one. But this, of course, have then all rolled over onto comedy and the whole Fawlty Towers thing. What do you make of that? The episode of Fawlty Towers that has been withdrawn from circulation. I think it's the episode where the major in the bar of the Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. At one point, me and my wife thought our house had been bugged, because when everyone when Lee Francis popped his head above the parapet and said, I shouldn't have done those characters on Bo Selector, we kind of went, well, Little Britain's for the chop, and then it went, and then we just kind of looked at each other and went, Fawlty Towers will be next. And then what do we see in the news? Fawlty Towers is gone. But I mean, that's when did that episode come out? Was it 1974? And then the excuse that UK TV used for pulling it was sometimes we reevaluate some of our archive. Like, come on. Everyone knows Fawlty Towers. You know, you definitely know it's in there because in the early days of UK Gold, it was on every day, every waking minute because they had nothing to show. So it was just non-stop Fawlty Towers. But I kind of do and don't get the outrage. It's not Black Lives Matter that have pulled the episode.
No.
UK TV have pulled the episode.
Yeah.
The same way that Netflix have pulled.
Thing, I think. It's I think misunderstanding it. It's like it's being oversensitive in the wrong direction, I think.
Yes.
I think for me, watching it in this day and age, I mean, whether it was funny or not back then is another matter, but now it makes you go, ooh. And I think that almost having that ooh feeling is worth it in a way. If the show comes with that warning, this was recorded in times, you know, that were very different. If it makes you do that, ooh, you know, people will like that. And then perhaps you'll realize you see it in other people then.
Yeah. Because no one's ever watched that episode where, you know, that exchange between Basil and the Major happens and then exploded with laughter. It's not the funniest thing that ever happened in Fawlty Towers.
No.
But those lines have been cut previously because John Cleese agreed to them. And then I think the reason that they've pulled the episode again before sticking the warning on, which in itself is ridiculous. It's not like they have to physically take a tape out of the machine, edit it, and then put it back in.
Yeah.
Is because of the exchange with the Germans at the end. Don't mention the war.
Yeah.
And all that.
It's just like
I've met Europeans.
It's funny, actually. I'm sorry, but it is. And I mean, Henning Vane makes jokes along those lines. So, you know, I think we can be oversensitive as I say, in the wrong way. It's not if you think that most people of colour are that sensitive and thin-skinned, how would they survive? When
they've got bigger things to worry about at the minute.
They have to deal with, you know, on a daily basis. I mean, you know, yeah.
It is awareness, though, isn't it? It's like we're evolving. Humanity is evolving all the time. And, you know, we've had situations like this where it's not politically correct with, you know, feminism and Dick Emery back in the day. And, you know, it's just the next sort of like evolving, isn't it? Of, you know, these things are just shining a light on things and that's why.
The backlash, that's what kind of upsets me, is the amount of angry people that they've turned people that are anti-fascist into Antifa, as if that we're all together in some group. And Antifa is now some terrorist organization, when all it is being anti-fascist. There's a huge resurgence of extreme right movements going on, and that scares me. It really does. You made me big.
I did. I was looking for emotion on your face. I wanted tears coming down. I wanted to get that. That could have been a BAFTA moment there, but no, you blew it.
No, it is. It's scary that the amount of anger out there with white supremacists and people that call themselves that are fighting against the Antifa, you know. I find it very scary and depressing, because I thought we'd moved further than we have.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think I read something in a book about progress and how it's like an elastic band and how things move and then they'll snap back, and eventually that their band will break and we'll make progress. And it seems to me that we've got a bit of a snapback happening at the moment, you know.
And it's also what you give your attention to and what you give your awareness to, because I think collectively we're all giving our awareness to a certain subject, like collective consciousness, if you like. And sometimes when you sometimes when you give attention to a certain subject, it kind of illuminates it, as opposed to sometimes, I mean, if you distance yourself from it and not just give it that you know, that attention, that focus, that boiling pot, you know, it does kind of simmer off, and you do tend to go down the right road. You know, your analogy of that snap back kind of thing. It's when you're at that moment, and it's that moment there when all the focus is on it, all the collective consciousness and awareness is on a particular subject and a particular focus. You just need to distance yourself on it, because sometimes when there's too much focus, it grows and it expands, and you just need to back off a little bit, back off, you know.
Do you think that we're polarizing? Because that's my fear, is that we seem to be splitting. We seem to be very divided. Certainly in the UK, and I'm worried that Scotland will break away because of Brexit and all that. But in America, that it looks like civil war in places, you know. It seems to me that the extremes we've gone into, the alt-right has gone very extreme and very angry, and they're armed in America, which is also scary.
Well, the whole thing that, you know, that the rally that Trump wanted to have in Tulsa, and I wasn't really aware of that, the massacre that happened of the black community in Tulsa. I think, did you mention, Kurt, you thought it was a part of a dramatic series?
Yeah, earlier this year there was a TV series called Watchmen, which is based on what's one of the greatest graphic novels of all time, by Alan Moore. It's really great if you've not read it, but it's basically on a bit of an alternate timeline from what we're on, where different events are shaped by there being like an actual superhero who's basically like a god. So he just, because he can do things at a molecular level, and he can walk on the surface of the sun and things like that. He basically changes the course of everything from the 50s onwards. So this TV series came on, and one of the first things you see is this massacre taking place in Tulsa. And I'll admit I'm probably more ignorant towards British history than I am American. Well, I mean, we've got more history than they have as a country, but, you know, that's a different subject. But then you see this massacre, and then that's the beginnings of one of the characters that's in this series. And I just assumed that this was them furthering this alternate timeline. It's like, oh my God, this is horrific. And then when I saw all the things the other day where it's talking about Trump doing his rally at like Juneteenth, as they call it, which is the end when Texas had to follow the Emancipation Proclamation, and that they said that there was this massacre. It's like, oh my God, that was real. That was horrendous. Yeah. And it was really bad. It was so bad that I did not think it was real.
It could have happened, but it did.
And for him to do a rally in that town on that anniversary, he's just there to stir it up.
Yeah,
it's complete ignorance, but that's because he's so daft that he could plead ignorance towards anything, and people would go, "Yeah, all right." But you know, somewhere someone's gone.
I don't know. Boris and
not many people will get it, but we'll know. We'll know that it's a bit naughty.
I think if people lie a lot, they almost get away with it, because Johnson is a serial liar, and now we just don't seem to bother about it. It's just another lie, just another lie. And Trump literally would lie rather than say the truth, even when it's to no advantage. It's like, it's a pathology, you know, it's an insanity. Just talking about history, there's one of the best things I think the Beeb does at the moment are some of the documentaries, the history documentaries, and there's a rather wonderful one called Invasion ! And it's 3 episodes, and it's all about how we think of ourselves as an island, that we are British, that there's a Britishness, that there's a separateness, but actually we've been, you know, perpetually invaded. And even if you know a lot of history, it'll tell you things you didn't know. Like, for instance, Lundy Island was actually taken over by Barbary pirates for a while. It was invaded by them, who were kidnapping people and selling them into slavery back in, I can't remember when the period was. So, I mean, there's just all sorts of amazing bits of invasion that we've literally kind of skirted over in our history. So we all know 1066, we all know about the Romans, and that is, and the Vikings, and that's about it really. But actually, there've been since 1066. I think there's 17 invasions or something that have been on this island, and of course, there's migrations and emigrations and all sorts of other things as well. And it's a wonderful series, and it's that I forget the man's name, unfortunately. He's very sort of nerdy and enthusiastic, and he makes it very interesting. So if you've got the time on your hands, it's well worth checking out. Invasion ! In 3 episodes.
We'll look that up. So tomorrow, non-essential shops open. Anybody going?
No.
I went to the shops last weekend, to be honest. I also have a viewpoint that fear has scientifically been proven to weaken your immune system. And I think everybody on the planet has been under house arrest for 3 months, locked in fear. And I think when people are frightened, as everybody has been, they're very easily manipulated and controlled. And that is my worry as well. You know, sometimes I like to look under the mainstream narrative as to what is actually going on here. You know, are there other agendas going on here? Maybe, you know,
certainly Brexit is going to slide in under all of this, isn't it?
This is what terrifies me.
And then we're going to drop off a cliff.
Absolutely terrifies me. And they won't extend it, and I just don't understand why. You know, Europe has kindly offered the option to extend it, and no, Cummings and Johnson, we're going to drop out. We're going to give you, even though the last poll said most people didn't want it anymore. So it's. There was something on Twitter earlier that said, you know, if the EU said they would have us back, but we had to adopt the euro, would you go for that? And my reply was, yes, certainly, because by the end of the year, we're going to be using pebbles for currency here. I mean, let's face it, we're in trouble. You know, and I'm collecting big pebbles already, I'll tell you.
Tell you what,
you've been looking for a while now, so you can go and stock up on pebbles.
Yeah.
This has definitely brought us more back to basics in life, which I think was needed and is going to be welcomed. More community-based stuff going on. You know, like Robyn, I think you said you'd started growing some vegetables. I know in the lockdown I planted seeds and bulbs, which I've never done before in the garden, and just watching them all come to fruition. And locally, I don't know, I'm sure it's the same way you guys are, but here there's a lot more local stuff going on, a lot more sort of like homegrown, homemade kind of stuff being put outside people's door, a lot more community-based, back to basic stuff going on, and I welcome that. I think it's great.
That's wonderful. Also, I didn't mind. I've been shopping at my local Aldi. I didn't mind queuing.
Yeah.
I found there was something really community building about it. There was a real, I mean, it is Liverpool, so you've got a lot of banter, you know. It's one of the friendliest places in the world to be. And so there's this fantastic kind of banter going on, and nobody's bad-tempered. Nobody's getting, you know, I mean, London would have been probably a different thing because people did go a bit mental, I think, down in London. Ooh, what happened there? But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed taking the pace out of everything. Okay, I may have to spend an hour before I actually get in the shop, you know, wrap up if it's cold, but we've had some fantastic weather as well.
Yeah, I remember one of my first times queuing outside Morrison's, and it was a long queue. It went there's a shop next door that was closed, and you know we were all spread out, and there were people walking up, and they're on the phone. Oh no, there's a huge queue. I'm not staying for this. I'll go somewhere else. Well, welcome to the real world. Now, you know.
No, they did that. It was lovely, actually, and everyone there was really friendly, and I've enjoyed it because we're isolated. That you actually get to see people, you know. We're all in it together. Yeah, okay, we're 2 meters apart, but we're all in it together, and we can have a bit of a giggle, you know.
I'm curious about the banter outside your Aldi in Liverpool. Is everybody comparing the pajamas? People are
perfectly.
Remember, I'm a born and bred scouser.
I'm kind of, well, I'm slightly posh end of Liverpool. I'm in Egbert, so I suppose I don't know. I dress up to go to the shops. I do my hair, put on my makeup, because otherwise I'm not doing a thing. So that's my outing.
I get dressed up for the binge now.
Do you put makeup on under a mask? That's the question.
Oh, I've got a lovely mask to show you. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh,
I have.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yes, I like that. Very fetching.
Frida Kahlo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if masks will ever become a thing of seduction.
Well, David, for some people, they already are.
Yeah, but those have a zipper on them, don't they? So anything else you've discovered about yourself during lockdown? Any new foods? Any new book? Oh, Kurt, was that?
I was reacting to someone getting a text and doing that.
I know. Ping. I thought that was your thought process.
Sorry.
I'll go first.
Pings.
I very much like when I first quit my job, I had full intentions of home baking everything and doing everything from scratch, and it's very, very slowly just gone downhill to the point where the only thing that we're really doing now is either baking a cake or making pizza, and I still can't figure out how to get my bases thin, and it's terrible. It's been months.
We got to do that.
Cannot do it.
Flop it over the other hand. Flop it over.
Yeah, but then I've got to do the stuff with the dough as well, so I've not got time
I think
to.
next year we have a baby boom and an obesity crisis.
Oh, I've eaten much too much.
It's nothing else to do.
Weight. I've turned into a lush. But
Yeah,
I've done gardening.
We've drunk more than we ever have. I mean, we've not been, pissed every night, but when I went to Sainsbury's yesterday, I thought that was a hot chocolate then for a minute, Dave. It's got the same story.
No. Blueberry gin for the end of the show.
Sainsbury's really nice, cheap Sauvignon Blanc that I just went yesterday and bought 4 bottles of that. That's absolutely unheard of in our house. We just used to drink on a Thursday evening. That'd be it. And now it's every night.
Every night.
Booze has been.
I can imagine that. It's Thursday night, love. Crack open a bottle.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of reading as well. Read a lot of books. I'd recommend Cloud Number 9. David Mitchell was brilliant. I'm trying to remember the name of that Haruki Murakami book I read, and I can't remember the bloody name of it. It was brilliant. All his books are great, but I read 2 of his books, and I read The Testaments, Margaret Atwood's follow-on to the
Handmaid's Tale, yeah,
which was really good read as well. Those are the ones I'd recommend.
And then he would.
Life with Ricky Gervais, the 3rd series, which I thought was phenomenal. Have you seen it?
Yeah, loved it.
Great, yeah.
Brilliant. Normal People on Netflix. Did you all get onto that? Normal People.
Yeah, that's on the planner to watch. It's on the planner.
Got so pushed. When things are too pushed my way, I don't want to watch them. I'm so kind of perverse like that. If everyone's saying it's great, I suddenly think, oh, it's going to be too mainstream.
I watched it before everybody started raving about it.
Yeah.
Thought, wow, that's phenomenal. And then everyone just kind of went, woof.
Great. That is great when that happens. When
We've not watched anything apart from Mad Men because my wife's she's a head of department at a local school. So when she usually gets home and is knackered, she just likes to watch, absolute mind-numbing crap.
It's not crap though, Mad Men.
No, not that. She likes to watch things like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or just stuff, because you can just watch it. You can watch it and not watch it.
Yeah.
So we've not really got. We used to watch things at the weekend because that was the only time we had where we can concentrate on it. But because we've had all this lockdown time, I just kind of said, look, let's start watching something. So we watched The Crown. So I'd only seen the first series; she'd not seen any. So we managed to get all that kind of boxed off. And then I said, right, let's do Mad Men. So I'm like a big fan of Mad Men. I've got most of the first 3 or 4 series on DVD in the loft. So we started watching that.
Yeah, I've got it.
Watching one or two an evening, depending on how we felt. And then one day I was just online for some reason on this, like what's leaving and what's coming onto Netflix site. And it said Mad Men is due to leave Netflix in the UK on the 9th of June.
Oh.
And it became a real number crunching exercise. So I was like, right, we have to watch, in order to watch them all
Jesus.
on Netflix, we have to watch 2.75 episodes a night.
That sounds
Then
about
we
right.
factor in the quizzes that we were doing with family and the quizzes that we were doing with friends. So when they got cancelled, we're like, oh no. It's like, yes, we've got the numbers back down. And we just managed to do it. We finished it on the evening of the 9th. And then the next day it was gone.
Yeah.
I might revisit it actually. It's a fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's one of the best pieces of drama that's been on TV.
I agree. It's so beautifully done, but also it really is a critique of capitalism, the American dream. It really is. It kind of picks it apart. The other one I love, Better Call Saul, which is the kind of a follow-on from
Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that might be the next thing that we move on to.
Breaking Bad was wonderful, but this is it's so much more poignant because knowing where it's headed is somehow gut wrenching because you really get to know characters that were only kind of peripheral to Walter White's journey. Now we're seeing their lives, and we know how when they interact with him, how it's all going to go horribly.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul. It's really good.
Oh yeah, Man Called Saul. Yeah.
Really, really good. But that's finished we've got just 6 more to come, and that's not going to be till next year now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's kept me sane is RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh yeah, the big fans in this house.
I love it. And then the All Stars has just started, so
yeah. That's what it's funny that watching All Stars with a bottle of wine.
It's brilliant.
Thursday night.
In this house.
It's funny that there was that big show, The Masked Singer, and now every singer is going to have to be masked. Now it's an odd quirk of nature.
Singer, yeah.
I know. Let me give you this. Oh, there we go. Rim shot. Let me do that again. On volume. Thank you. How about that? Or even a. See, the sound effects board is still working, but the video effects isn't. So there we go.
Now, what do you reckon that was? Is that just teething problems?
I don't know. I'm trying to push this free version of StreamYard and do things that you're not supposed to do, really. So there we go. I'm just too cheap to pay for it. It has been an absolute pleasure to see you three this evening and have a chat. We're coming to that witching hour when we have to say goodbye. Anything work-wise coming up for any of you, Robyn or Marie? Anything? It's deadly quiet for acting trade.
Apparently, there's green shoots, according to my wonderful agent. So I'm hoping the green shoots will mean I might get some work.
I've actually done a self-tape this week, and it's like, good Lord. So there we go.
So some things are happening.
Yeah. And Emmerdale started up and Corrie started up again now. So we'll see.
Stay positive, hey? Let's stay positive.
How are they doing it? Do you know?
Which one? Sorry.
How are they actually filming them?
Well, Emmerdale, they're just having 2 characters, so they've done those 2 ups.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, yeah, that's great.
Some people who've been working on Coronation Street this week, they're really incredibly careful about how they do everything. I've been in on some industry seminars about film and TV industry, and Emmerdale and Coronation Street are kind of the testing ground for COVID-friendly filming, and so they're trying everything out, and the rest of TV ramping up will be based on what they've developed in the soaps, and it's
brilliant.
Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's
so. Good. But anyway, okay, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. It's been lovely. Thank you for being my guest this evening. Once again, we have Kurt Brookes. There we go. Thank you, Kurt. Have fun. Our wonderful Marie friend, Scouser now in Chester area. And Robyn from London and EastEnders, but now in Liverpool. It's been an absolute treat Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to finish my can of gin. Lovely
Cheers.
to see you.
Okay.
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, it's going.
Oh.
We're off.